Heartwarming turnaround, Black CEO exposed inequality, fired staff in incredible 20-minute life dash. Marcus stood at the edge of his spacious office, the Chicago skyline shimmering through the floor-to-ceiling windows. A feeling of discontent washed over him, and he couldn't shake the nagging thought that success had left him disconnected, almost hollow. This was not the dream his mother had worked tirelessly for, juggling jobs just to afford their modest home. He had clawed his way from an intern to the CEO of a multi-million-dollar tech company, yet beneath the bright screens and soaring ambitions lay shadows of inequality he couldn't ignore. As he walked through the open floor plan, his heart sank. In a world of vast opportunity, he saw the stark contrast between his privileged employees and those interns and contractors who relentlessly fought for a foothold. Their brilliance often eclipsed by those who had been handed success on a silver platter. It weighed on him. Shouldn't his company be a beacon of hope? The whispers about favoritism lingered like a storm cloud, and Marcus couldn't turn a blind eye any longer. During the annual Corporate Community Day event, a few familiar faces from his childhood neighborhood gathered to share their stories. They spoke of dreams crushed beneath the weight of inequality. For a moment, time froze. He felt a tightness in his chest as one mother recounted how she worked 3 jobs, just like his own mother. Tears prickled at the corners of Marcus's eyes as he witnessed the struggle that still echoed in the voices of those who wanted so desperately to rise. "Marcus, what can you do?" one of them asked, eyes glistening yet filled with hope. Their words pierced through him, igniting a flickering flame of determination he never knew he had. It was a reckoning. A choice lay in front of him. Would he silently stand by or challenge the scales of justice within his own company? With each step toward making a decision, his heart raced. He gathered his executive team, the atmosphere thick with unease. "Change is necessary," he said, barely rising above a whisper. "It's time to confront the culture we've cultivated. We can't pretend it's not broken." Marcus paused, breathing deeply, searching their faces. He took another step forward, posture firm. "Effective immediately, I'm letting go of the staff who have perpetuated this inequity." Gasps filled the silence. Colleagues exchanged shocked expressions, some with eyes wide, others with furrowed brows. The shock rippled through the room, igniting debates that turned his courageous act into a viral headline. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The news spread like wildfire. Half the country hailed him as a hero, while the other half ignited in protests over the very values that had built his empire. In his mother's old, cozy kitchen, the aroma of her cooking soothed his troubled mind, but the echoes of critics loomed large. As he stared out that window into the life he had once longed for, one question consumed him: was it worth the risk of losing everything, and could he truly alter the status quo? Sitting there, his heart raced with uncertain anticipation. Could one man's choice truly change an entire industry, or would it simply isolate him in a world resistant to transform? Marcus couldn't sleep that night. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment he'd spoken those words to his team. The gasps, the shocked faces, the whispers that would surely follow. Was he brave, or foolish? The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, threatening to pull him into a deep, dark uncertainty. In his heart, he believed this was the right choice, yet fear crept into the corners of his mind, whispering doubts. What if he had jeopardized everything his mother had sacrificed for? Morning light filtered through the curtains, chasing away the shadows that had filled his room. Marcus sat up, rubbing his eyes. There was a sense of urgency in the air. Today would be the day that proved whether his gamble would pay off. He needed to act. He arrived at the office early, determined to set the tone. As he walked in, he felt the palpable tension rising like steam. Conversations hushed, and eyes darted away. People were still reeling from his sudden actions. He stepped into the break room, where a handful of employees sipping their coffee cast glances that felt like daggers. Yet, he forced himself to smile. "Hey, everyone!" he called out, trying to infuse some warmth into the chilly atmosphere. "I know things seem tense right now, but I want to hear your thoughts. How can we make this company a place that fosters growth and opportunity for all? Your voices matter." A few nervous chuckles broke the silence, but one woman, Angela, spoke up. "Marcus, you've started a firestorm. Not everyone is happy about the changes. Some believe you've gone too far." Her honesty caught him off guard. Marcus admired it. "I understand that," he replied carefully. "But we need to face the truth of our company culture. If we don't change, we risk everything. What do you think we should do?" A discussion ignited, with employees sharing their fears and hopes. Marcus listened intently, a mixture of relief and pride swelling in his chest. The idea that the team could come together, even amid uncertainty, filled him with an unexpected sense of hope. However, not everyone was on board. Later that afternoon, his door swung open aggressively, revealing Kyle, one of the senior executives who had long been a face of the company's old guard. Anger radiated from him. "Marcus, what you did was reckless." Kyle spat, his voice rising. "You've put this company on a path to ruin. You're throwing away our legacy for what? A fleeting ideology?" Marcus felt his heart pounding. "This isn't just an ideology, Kyle. This is about people. I refuse to be a part of a system that perpetuates inequality. Our legacy can be one of growth for everyone, not just a select few." Kyle's expression hardened, arms crossed defiantly. "You'll regret this. People will turn on you. You're making enemies fast." As Kyle stormed out, Marcus stood frozen, the weight of that warning hanging heavily in the air. He could feel it. A shift was happening in the company, and while many voices supported his vision, others were already plotting against him. Outside, the protests surged, fueled by those who felt threatened. He retreated to his office, staring out at the horizon once more. His breath caught in his throat as he realized how crucial the next steps were. The fight for change was more than a headline. It was a battle to redefine not just his company, but also his own identity as a leader. Could he hold on to his vision long enough to turn this around before it slipped away? With the storm brewing outside, his resolve hardened. Something deep inside told him that the heart of this fight was just beginning. The real question was, how far was he willing to go to see it through? The phone buzzed on his desk, and he picked it up to see a news alert. Rival CEO threatens to expose Marcus's past. Will he be toast? Panic rippled through his chest. What would this mean for his mission? Marcus felt as if the ground beneath him had completely vanished. The news alert was a punch to the gut, leaving him breathless. His past, something he thought he had buried long ago, was surfacing just as he was beginning to usher in a new future. The thought of being exposed and scrutinized like that sent icy tendrils of fear wrapping around his heart. He sank into his chair, the weight of his decisions crashing down on him. Images flickered through his mind, memories he had hoped to forget, friends lost, choices made. His fingers nervously tapped on the desk, a staccato rhythm matching his racing heartbeat. If they dug deep enough, would they find more than just shadows? Would his journey to becoming a leader be marred by the decisions he made as a young man trying to survive? With a deep breath, he forced himself to gather his thoughts. Anger pulsed through him, not only at the rival CEO who had taken advantage of his vulnerability, but at himself for allowing his past to hold sway over his current life. Could he still move forward? The sound of a knock jolted him from his dark reverie. It was Angela. She stepped inside without waiting for an invitation, a look of concern crossing her face. "Marcus, have you seen the news?" He gestured to the screen, unable to summon the courage to voice his thoughts. She followed his gaze, and her expression shifted from concern to determination. That's not fair, she said, her tone resolute. You're making genuine changes for the better, and they want to tear you down? That's typical. Don't let them distract you. You said yourself this fight was for a better future. Her encouraging words ignited a flicker of hope within him, but it was quickly dampened by thoughts of the impending storm. If my past comes to light, it would shatter everything we've built. Angela leaned forward, her voice firm. What's in the past doesn't define you now. Transparency is key. You've opened this dialogue, now, keep the momentum going. If they want to expose something, be the one to tell your story. Don't let them control the narrative. He stared at her, torn between gratitude and fear. She was right, wasn't she? This was about authenticity, not just for him but for the team. He had to show them that even flawed individuals could rise and fight for a greater cause. Standing tall in front of adversity, wasn't that what he'd been preaching? Okay, he said, his voice stronger than before. But I want to do it on my terms. I will share my past. It's messy, but it's mine. If they want the truth, they'll get the truth. Angela smiled, a glimmer of pride in her eyes. That's the spirit. You take back your narrative. I'll stand with you when you're ready. As she left, Marcus felt that flicker of hope grow stronger into a flame. Though the obstacles were formidable and his past loomed large, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. He could still make a difference, one way or another, but just as he began to feel that spark, there was another knock at the door. This time it was Kyle, looking more troubled than before. Marcus, I heard what's happening, he said, his voice wavering. We need to talk. The air shifted as Marcus braced himself. What would Kyle have to say? What could come next? Would it be support, or was it just another dagger aimed at his back? The fight for his company and himself was only heating up. Would he be able to face down those he once trusted? As Kyle stepped into the office, the tension was palpable. Marcus could see the anxiety etched on his friend's face. He braced for what was likely to be another wave of disappointment. Hey, Marcus, Kyle started, his eyes darting around the room as if searching for the right words. I just wanted to see how you're holding up. It's not about me, Marcus replied, his voice steady but cold. What's really got you here, Kyle? Are you worried about the fallout? About your position? Kyle hesitated. No, it's not just that. It's the team. We're all worried about how this might change everything. We thought we were building something good together. Marcus threw his hands up, frustration boiling over. We are. Why can't you see that? If I back down now, if I let fear dictate my actions, then all this work is for nothing. I would be letting them win. Kyle stepped closer, lowering his voice. It's not about winning or losing, Marcus. It's about survival. You have a family, people depend on you. If they dig deeper into your past, it might ruin your reputation. And all of us along with you. The words hit hard. A flash of anger ignited in Marcus's chest, but he fought to contain it. There was truth in what Kyle was saying, and that stung more than he wanted to admit. And what do we do? What do we tell everyone? Just hide and hope it all blows over? I want to support you. We all do, Kyle continued. But maybe you need to consider another option. What if you put out your story first, but do it in a way that benefits the team? Spin it. Reframe the narrative around change instead of allowing them to paint a picture of failure. Marcus shook his head, feeling the weight of the world on his shoulders. Spinning it still feels dishonest. I can't do that. I want to lie about who I am, even if it means I have to face the music. Kyle closed the gap between them. You're not lying, you're just controlling how it's told. Tell them your mistakes, but also show how you've grown. Talk about how you're changing things for the better. People appreciate vulnerability. As those words settled, Marcus felt a sense of possibility unfurling within him. Maybe there was a middle ground. A chance for redemption that didn't require him to wrap himself in shame. But how? He leaned against the desk, his mind racing. How do I frame the past that way without letting it swallow me whole? Look at it this way, Kyle replied, voice full of encouragement. You were forged in struggle, right? Use that. Talk about those experiences. Use your journey as a testament to the changes you're fighting for now. For the first time, Marcus didn't feel alone in this fight. Kyle was right, there was power in vulnerability. He could share his story for a purpose. He could lead with authenticity. I need to think this through, Marcus said slowly, as he felt a newfound determination shifting inside him. I have to face this head on, and not just for me, but for everyone out there who has been through the same. The weight of his past still loomed ahead, but this time it didn't feel like a chain dragging him down. As Kyle nodded, the door swung open again. This time, it was Angela, a file in her hand. Marcus, you have to see this. There's been a new development. They are not just after your past, they might be targeting the company we need to prepare. His heart dropped at the urgency in her tone. What was waiting for him now, beneath the pressure of the moment? Marcus took a deep breath. How could he rise above it again? He wasn't just fighting for his past anymore, he was fighting for the future, but would that be enough? With each word spoken, the storm was only starting to brew. Angela's eyes sparkled with determination, but fear lurked behind them. You need to see this article. They're claiming your past actions were systemic issues in the company, not just personal failures. This could tear everything apart. Marcus felt his stomach knot. The implications of what she was saying sank in like a stone. If they were coming after the company as a whole, he would be at the center of a storm. How did they even get this information? He asked, his voice a mix of disbelief and dread. Someone must have leaked it, Kyle interjected. Your past, our struggles, they're trying to paint a picture. They want a scandal. Marcus caught a glimpse of his own reflection in the window. A man caught off guard, weathered yet unwilling to give in. He felt the heat of his anger rising again, but this time it was different. It wasn't just for himself, this was about everyone who believed in the mission they had built together. He clenched his fists, trying to steady the chaos within. So what do we do? Do we fight back? Or do we accept whatever they serve us? Angela stepped forward, the file clutched tightly. We strategize. We need to get ahead of this. You have to be the face of what's happening. Turn this into an opportunity to redefine the narrative. Show them who you really are, and what we stand for as a company. What if it blows up in our faces? Kyle asked, concern furrowing his brows. What if they just twist it more? Marcus closed his eyes, envisioning all the people they employed. The families relying on checks, the community surrounding them that believed in their vision, the ones who had rallied when his past came to light. I want to let them use my story against others. If I do this, it has to be real. It has to resonate. We can't hide from who we are. Angela nodded. Keep your heart in it. People know authenticity. They connect with it. Taking a deep breath, Marcus focused on one fact: they were standing together, united in uncertainty. All right, he said firmly. Let us gather the team and prepare a statement. Not just about me, but about the work we've all done. About our mission and our values. We show everyone that we want to be silenced. Kyle nodded, a fire igniting in his eyes. I'm in. No more running. They moved swiftly, pulling in other team members. Each face was serious but reflective, determined yet anxious. Ideas bounced as Marcus laid out his vision. They crafted messages about resilience, growth, and community impact, words spilling forth like a dam breaking. He could feel the energy building in the room, fear shifting to strength. Hours passed, but it felt like mere moments. As the final drafts formed, Marcus stood at the head of the table, surrounded by allies. He could see their belief in something deeper than just a business. They believed in him, and their collective heartbeat steadied the anxiety that twisted in his gut. They shared a smile, conviction shining in their eyes. But the darkness pressing at the edges of the room lingered. The article was set to drop tomorrow. How would the world respond? Were they ready to face the backlash, the scrutiny, and the judgment that might follow? The thought of stepping into a storm sent shivers down his spine. But then again, maybe storms could reveal new paths. "Let us get some rest," Marcus finally said, his voice steady. "Tomorrow's going to be a big day." As everyone filed out of the room, he lingered for a moment, glancing one last time at the city outside, illuminated under the glow of the setting sun. A new beginning was on the horizon, one full of uncertainty and hope, but what if the storm turned out to be more than he anticipated? What more might be revealed? Would they be able to weather it together? Marcus woke up the next morning to an unsettling silence. The kind that feels heavy, like the air just before a storm breaks. He sat up in bed and glanced over at his phone, heart pounding as he thought of the article set to drop soon. Every heartbeat echoed with a sense of dread. He took a deep breath and got ready for the day, the routine motions feeling oddly robotic. The coffee brewed quietly, filling the kitchen with a bitter aroma that normally brought comfort but today felt stagnant. Just afterward, Marcus stepped outside. The sun bathed the city in warm light, but it didn't quite reach him. Anxiety twisted inside as he made his way to the office, each block feeling longer than the last. His mind replayed the conference room meeting from the night before, the optimism and hope they had built, now overshadowed by an impending sense of doom. When he walked into the office, the buzz of conversations faded. Heads turned, faces instantly filled with mixed expressions of worry and determination. It was as if the atmosphere itself was charged with unspoken questions. "Morning, Marcus." Kyle's voice broke the silence, yet held a tension laced within. "Hey," Marcus replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Has it dropped yet?" Angela stepped into the room, file in hand, a determined look on her face. "Not yet, but we have to be ready. We can't let them catch us off guard. We need to monitor every mention, every comment." They gathered in a tight circle, and Marcus could feel their shared resolve, their unity in this fight. Kyle cleared his throat. "Do you want to go live with the statement now? Change the narrative before it twists into something worse?" Marcus considered it. This was his moment to speak, to reclaim his story. "Yes. Let us do it. I want to address our values head-on. If they want the truth, I'll give it to them." As they set up the video feed, Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline. He glanced at his team, their faces reflecting not just worry but respect and support. This was his chance to not only defend himself but also to stand for everyone who felt voiceless. With shaking hands, he adjusted the collar of his shirt and inhaled slowly. The camera started recording, and he squared his shoulders, summoning the strength he felt in the conference room. "Good morning. I'm Marcus Trent, CEO of Unity Corporation. Today, I want to address the recent article published about my past and our company. I won't shy away from my mistakes, nor will I allow them to define us." As he spoke, words flowed with honesty, recounting his journey, the growth that had come from pain. He didn't gloss over failures, he shared how those experiences had shaped him, how progress could spring from the darkest moments. With every word, he could feel the weight of the world dissipating. The truth was powerful. But as he wrapped up, a notification pinged on his phone. He hesitated, glancing down for just a moment. The article was live and the headline was more inflammatory than they anticipated. Heartwarming turnaround, Black CEO exposed inequality, fired staff in incredible 20-minute life-changing episode. His heart sank, the words blurring into a haze. His chest tightened. It was one thing to face scrutiny, but this? This felt personal. Angela noticed his expression. "What is it?" He turned towards her and the others, a mix of rage and fear pulsing through him. It's worse than we thought. They're not just coming after me, they're twisting the truth into a larger narrative. Then we fight back, Kyle said, his voice firm. Marcus felt a familiar flame ignite within him. You're right. We can't let them dictate our story. We need a plan, and we need it now. But as he looked at the gathering storm ahead, realizations crept in. What would it take to truly reclaim their narrative? And at what cost would victory come? He took a deep breath, recognizing that this battle would redefine them all. Would they be ready for the fight ahead, or would the storm swallow them whole? Marcus stared at the screen, the headline blaring back at him like a flashing warning sign. The words felt like a dagger, cutting deep into his resolve. He could hear murmurs around the room. Angela's eyes widened, and Kyle clenched his fists, frustration evident in his posture. What do we do, Marcus? Angela's voice broke through the haze of disbelief. We need to come up with a strategy, and fast. He nodded slowly, gathering his racing thoughts. First, we need to dissect the article. Let us highlight the inaccuracies. He looked around the room, his team's anxious expressions fueling his determination. We can't back down. This is about more than just me, it's about our entire mission. With every word, his confidence surged a little more. The first order of business was to call an emergency meeting with the executive team. He needed all hands on deck. Let us mobilize everyone, Marcus instructed. We need to bring together our communications team, legal, and the PR department. I want a full breakdown of this article's implications. The air felt charged, the urgency igniting a palpable sense of purpose amongst them. As Kyle moved to relay the information, Marcus took a moment to breathe deeply, staring out the window. The sun hung high in the sky, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside him. But as much as he felt on the brink of despair, he also noticed a flicker of determination rise within. This was a chance to rewrite not just his own story, but the story of countless others. Minutes later, they all gathered around the conference table. The room buzzed with fervor, energy crackling through every discussion point. Marcus felt a surge of pride as he observed the dedication on their faces. People from diverse backgrounds sitting together, united by the fight against a biased narrative. Here's the thing, Marcus began, pacing as he spoke, we know our story. We have to own it and amplify the truth. We need the public to understand that our mission is built on integrity and empowerment. Our strength is in our transparency and commitment to doing better. Angela tapped her notes, capturing every word. We can showcase the positive changes we're implementing and how they align with our values. We have to shift the focus from the sensationalism of the article to our vision for the future. People want authenticity, Kyle added passionately. If we can convey our real story, that will resonate. We can even share testimonials from our employees, showing what our workplace truly represents. Feeling the momentum, Marcus's ideas flowed freely. Let us create a video series. I can address this directly, but also highlight our team members and the changes we're making. We'll frame it as a conversation, making it clear that we're all in this together. Energy surged in the room as they discussed logistics and messaging. Words like community, growth, and change filled the air, pushing back against the sense of gloom that had lingered just moments earlier. Yet, as everyone dove into tasks and roles, Marcus couldn't shake the knot in his stomach. He felt the weight of their expectations resting on him. Was he ready for this? What if the media twisted their words again? Marcus glanced at the wall clock, time slipping away. He needed to act quickly, but the internal battle raged on. What if the media's ready to pounce on every misstep we make? He wondered aloud, bringing an unexpected silence over the group. Then we have to be smarter than them, Kyle replied, his voice steady yet fierce. Marcus met the eyes of his team. Their resolve mirrored his own, their faith in each other kindling a fire in his heart. Okay then, he said, determination hardening his voice. We're going to reclaim our narrative, and we will not back down. As he watched their heads nod in agreement, Marcus felt hope starting to blossom anew. But as they dispersed to put the plan into action, a sudden cold sweep washed over him. Outside the walls of this office, their enemies were already preparing to dig deeper, exploit weaknesses he didn't know he had. How could they possibly be ready for the backlash that was sure to follow? The stage was set for a confrontation. But could they stand strong against the storm that was brewing? And would their truth be enough in a world that thrived on sensationalism? Marcus took a deep breath as he stepped away from the conference table. The energy in the room was palpable, but he felt a heaviness settle on his shoulders. The fight was on, and it felt more personal than ever. He could almost hear the whispers of the news anchors, the click of cameras ready to record their every misstep. As the team split up to tackle their assigned tasks, he glanced around, the faces of the people who believed in him sparking an ember of courage within. He could ring in the changes they were fighting for, but could he really protect them from the fallout? Was their truth, no matter how powerful, strong enough to combat the sea of misinformation? Angela joined him, breaking the silence. "You okay?" she asked softly. There was a genuine concern in her eyes, a comforting warmth that made him feel less isolated in this battle. "I think so," he replied. I want to make sure we get it right. Everything we've worked for is at stake. You're not alone in this, Marcus. Remember, our strength is in numbers," she reminded him, laying a reassuring hand on his arm. "Together, we're a force. Our commitment is more powerful than any headline." Her words soothed some of the gnawing anxiety in his chest. Yes, they were a community, a collective doing something meaningful. They would fight for each other and the values they shared. Marcus nodded, allowing her encouragement to seep into his resolve. "Let us just stay focused on our story. We can transform this narrative into something that connects with people. Authenticity that's what they want." As the hours passed, the team worked tirelessly, flipping through data, crafting communication strategies, and creating templates for the upcoming video series. Laughs punctuated the air, each joke lightening the load just a bit more. He was grateful for the camaraderie, but Marcus found it increasingly hard to shake the unsettling feeling that lurked in the back of his mind. By the time dusk began to settle, Marcus gathered everyone back in the conference room. The mood had shifted from frantic to electric. They had something solid now, an outline for the video series and an action plan to amplify their voices. "Okay, team," Marcus said, facing them all. "I'm proud of what we've accomplished today. We're taking our power back, starting now. But we need to be ready because I don't think this is going to end easily." Kyle cleared his throat, leaning forward, eyes fierce. "What about a press conference? We can control the narrative there too. Bring the media in, give them access to our vision firsthand." Marcus nodded thoughtfully. "That could work, but we need to have all our points rehearsed. No room for misinterpretation." As they continued strategizing, Marcus couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing just beneath the surface. The media might be watching, and their enemies might be waiting to strike. It felt important to be vigilant, to protect not only their message but also their community. Suddenly, his phone buzzed on the table. He picked it up, his heart racing when he saw the name flashing on the screen. It was from a journalist he knew well, someone who had never reached out for a comment before. He felt a pit form in his stomach as he opened the message. "Marcus, I'm hearing whispers about another piece that's coming out next week. It looks worse than the first. Let us talk." Panic surged through him. The storm was closer than he'd imagined. What were they about to unleash on his team? How could they prepare for something they didn't even fully understand yet? He locked eyes with Angela and Kyle, and he felt the ground shift beneath him. "We need to get ahead of this. Now." He stood taller, a newfound determination blazing within him. Their mission was more than a defense, it was a declaration. If the world wanted their truth, then they would give it everything they had. But deep inside, he could feel another wave of uncertainty approaching. How far were they willing to go to fight for the reality they believed in? Would their fight inspire others, or would the media twist their narrative into something unrecognizable again? The pressure mounted, but they had to forge ahead. The stakes had never been higher. Marcus felt the weight of the room pressing down on him as he closed his phone and looked at his team. The energy had shifted again, this time charging the atmosphere with a mix of anxiety and determination. This wasn't just another day at the office, it felt like the calm before a storm, and everyone could sense it. "We can prepare," Marcus began, his voice steady despite the turmoil within. "We establish our narrative. We control the dialogue. Angela, what can we do to get the message out faster?" Angela, always quick on her feet, shifted her gaze to a nearby whiteboard. "We need to create a timeline for our release. News can spread like wildfire, and if we act quickly, we can possibly diffuse some of the impending negativity." Kyle chimed in, "What if we organized an online town hall? It gives us a platform to address the community directly and show them we won't back down. We can present facts, answer questions, and build a supportive narrative." "Absolutely," Marcus agreed, heart racing at the thought of immediate action. "We need to be transparent. It creates trust. People want to feel connected, especially in times like this." As they brainstormed ideas, Marcus could feel the bond strengthening among them. Every word shared, every suggestion made, felt like a step forward. They weren't simply responding, they were taking a stand. But beneath that resolve, the fear of the storm loomed large. The next morning arrived, bright and early, but behind Marcus's eyes, fatigue whispered of sleepless nights. Motivated by urgency, they set the town hall for that evening, quickly working to spread the word. Emails were sent, social media posts crafted, and within hours, the buzz of anticipation was palpable. "What if it backfires?" Kyle murmured thoughtfully as they gathered around a laptop to rehearse their presentation. "What if people don't connect with us the way we hope?" Marcus felt a twinge in his chest. It was the question that had kept him awake at night. We have to believe in ourselves. Our message is powerful, and honesty doesn't only resonate, it empowers. If we lay everything out, people will rally behind us. Just before the town hall, the team stood in a huddle, hands together as Marcus felt the pulse of their collective hope. "We are more than a story, more than a headline. We are a community fighting for our truth." As the event started, Marcus felt a rush of adrenaline. Faces appeared on the screen, some familiar, many new. A mixture of excitement and anxiety coursed through him. He welcomed everyone warmly, grounding himself in their shared purpose. Then they unveiled their outline, each fact building a wall of truth against the uncertainties. Angela spoke confidently about their vision, while Kyle answered questions with a passion that sparked a fire in the hearts of others. The flow of conversation became easier, and moments of laughter broke through the tension, but just as Marcus thought they were getting through, a name surfaced in the comments section, a well-known critic who had constantly dismissed their mission. "Oh boy," he breathed, instinctively reaching for the microphone. "Looks like we've got a challenger. Let us address this head-on." For a moment, silence filled the air, and all eyes were on him. The stakes had been raised, and he could feel the tension knotting in his stomach. "Whoever is out there, we welcome your questions. Let us talk about it," Marcus said, and to his surprise, a wave of support rolled through the audience. In that moment, they were no longer just fighting a narrative, they were sparking a conversation. But would it be enough to protect them from the looming storm? As replies began to flood in, Marcus's heart raced. What would be the fallout? And would they find strength in adversity, or would it overwhelm them? The journey had only just begun. As the night wore on, the flood of comments felt like a waltz of emotions, some encouraging, others harsh. Yet, there was something extraordinary happening. Together, they found their voice, it was raw and real. Marcus felt the air in the room shift as more individuals joined the discussion, sharing their own stories, their own struggles, Marcus realized the true power of vulnerability. Every question that arose sparked a larger dialogue about not just inequality, but also about redemption, growth, and resilience. With each heartfelt response, their mission began to take root in the hearts of viewers. "Here's the thing," Marcus spoke directly into the camera, emotion welling in his eyes. "We want to amplify voices that often go unheard. This isn't just about my past, it's about the systemic issues that continue to plague our industry. We're here to change that." The reactions poured in. There were cheers for courage, tears of relief, and cries for solidarity. He could feel the support lifting him higher. Kyle, standing beside Marcus, jumped in with stories of their workforce employees who had sacrificed so much to rise above hurdles. Angela encouraged viewers to participate, inviting them to voice their ideas. Hope began to flow through the digital spaces, carving out a place for each person's story. As the discussion deepened, Marcus noticed a familiar name popping up amidst the supportive comments: the rival CEO who had threatened to expose his past. It was as if a spell had been cast. Silence fell over the audience as Marcus paused, swallowing nervously. This was the moment he had dreaded. "Listen," he said, the strength in his voice surprising even him. "If we don't face our pasts head-on, those choices will continue to haunt us. Transparency is essential. I own every mistake I've made, and I will not allow anyone to take that from me. I hope that by owning my story, I can inspire every one of you to stand up for yours." A wave of resonance spread through the chat like a wildfire, igniting messages of support from people who had once felt isolated. They were no longer just stories. They were a movement. As they wrapped up, Marcus felt a shift within him. It wasn't just his journey anymore, it was the collective heart of a community yearning for change. He felt their courage wrap around him like a warm embrace, bolstering his conviction that they were all in this together. Angela flashed a proud smile. "That was incredible, Marcus. You really connected with them." With their spirits lifted, the team evaluated the engagement stats post-event. Numbers were skyrocketing, shares were flooding in. Their bravery was resonating, compelling others to join their cause. But as the excitement simmered, the ominous weight of that rival CEO's threat loomed. The days that followed were a whirlwind. The media coverage tipped in their favor, shifting narratives as they framed the conversation around progress, inclusion, and authenticity. People rallied around the message, and voice after voice joined the campaign, a testament to the strength born from adversity. But just as the momentum peaked, the rival CEO finally released an article. It sensationalized claims aimed to tarnish not just Marcus's character, but the company's mission. He knew this would be a defining moment. Would they falter under pressure or rise to the occasion? Gathering the leadership team in a critical meeting, Marcus laid the situation bare. Anger coursed through him, but he bottled it, channeling that fire into resolution. "We need a response, and it can't be angry or defensive. We continue what we started. We show our audience how much we care. We lead with our values." The energy was electric as they brainstormed strategies, revisiting the town hall format, going live again to refute the inaccuracies, but this time focusing on their mission. They would not be silenced. Together, they sketched out a powerful rebuttal, one rooted in truth, using their combined strengths, and then, as dawn broke on the day of the live response, Marcus stood before the camera again. But this time, he wasn't just a CEO. He was a leader, a voice for the voiceless, a community builder. "We will not surrender our narrative to anyone," he declared, with a fierce expression. "Join us, stand with us, and let us strive for a world where everyone has the opportunity for growth. Our fight is far from over, but together, we are unstoppable." As he concluded, a flurry of reactions erupted on social media, comments of solidarity, determination, even gratitude. It was more than an audience, this was a movement. For Marcus, the mist of uncertainty began to clear, revealing a new path, one illuminated by collective strength and shared purpose. The fight for equity began, not just for his company, but for every soul who dared to dream beyond their circumstances. They were forging a new culture, one rooted in compassion, transparency, and unity. A message popped up on his screen later that evening, a simple note from his mother. "I am so proud of you, son. Never lose sight of what matters." Tears pricked his eyes, and warmth spread through his chest. It was a reminder that they were all in this together. This was just the beginning. With newfound clarity, he exclaimed, "Let us go, team." As they cheered together, Marcus knew his story and theirs was far from over. It was clear that real change required boldness, an unwavering belief in one another, and the courage to face the storms head-on. Now, it's time for you to join the movement. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Your actions matter.